What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Matthew Branch. I'm a first-year medical student and I'm also a music producer. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about something that personally I'm very familiar with, as I'm sure many of us are, and that is procrastination. Procrastination, it's something that is a part of all of our lives. It's something that for the longest time I felt like was ingrained in who I was and something I would never be able to escape. But recently I've decided that instead of just accepting procrastination, that I was going to work towards procrastinating less. I started to think about procrastination as a skill, just like anything else, something that we can get better at and work towards overcoming. And that's what I've been doing, and I've been seeing great results. And so now I want to share today with you some tips on how you too can overcome procrastination. Why do we want to overcome procrastination? Whether or not you eventually get your work done, procrastination takes a lot of time away from our lives, precious hours that we could be spending doing things that we care about, productive things, or just enjoyable and relaxing things. Procrastination, in my experience, generally is not relaxing or rewarding. While I'm procrastinating, I always have this sense of guilt, a sense of restlessness, like I know what I need to do, but I'm not doing it. It's not relaxing, it doesn't make me feel good, and there's really no benefit to it. And so the sooner that we can get rid of this procrastination, the sooner that we can start to get those hours back and put them into things that we actually enjoy or want to do. So before I share my tips on how to procrastinate less, I just want to make a quick little distinction between procrastination and just intentionally not doing your work. So to me, procrastination is unplanned activities that interfere with your work instead of activities that you plan to do that interfere with your work. Let me explain what I mean. So each night when I go to sleep, I usually write down a schedule of exactly what I want to be doing during the next day. In that schedule, I usually put something like from 8 to 11 a.m. Because I'm a medical student, I want to be studying. What procrastination would be is that during that 8 to 11 window, when I plan to be studying, other things are pulling my attention away. I'm getting distracted. I'm going on Twitter for 20, 30 minutes at a time. I'm in the kitchen snacking 20 minutes after I just ate breakfast. Things like that are unplanned activities that pull us away from our work. Now contrast that with planned activities. So if on that schedule I was just talking about, instead of putting from 8 to 11 a.m. I'm gonna study, if I had put from 8 to 9, I'm going to answer emails, I'm gonna check social media, I'm gonna surf the web. Then that time, I don't consider that procrastination because that is time that we're doing what we wanted to be doing, right? We planned to do it and we're doing it. And then say from 9 to 11, I had planned to study, I go ahead and study. So that first hour, I'm getting out of the way, all those emails, that social media, all of that. And then from 9 to 11, I'm doing focused work. And so that's an important distinction. Now that we've made that distinction, let's talk about ways that we can work to overcome procrastination. So the first and easiest thing to change about your life that's gonna help you to procrastinate less is just to make a procrastination-free environment. So what does that look like? The first and most obvious thing is that you need to get your phone out of your workspace. I know it may be a hard pill to swallow. My phone has helped me to get through a lot of arduous activities, but really the phone serves us no purpose when we're trying to focus in and do deep work. So the best thing that I would suggest is to put your phone in another room. I like to put it either in the kitchen or maybe the bathroom. That way, when I go to grab a snack or when I go to use the bathroom, I can quickly check my phone. So it's a planned break, and that way I get to, quickly check on things while I'm doing those type of activities. Another thing you can do is you can just put your phone somewhere where you won't be able to see it, maybe in a drawer or on the other side of the room, just something like that, where it won't be able to grab for your attention while you're trying to work. Now, after you've gotten your phone out of the way, I think it's really important to make sure that whatever computer you're working on, I mean, if you're not working on a computer, obviously this isn't something that you have to worry about, but for me as a medical student, someone who's always on his computer, I need to make sure that my digital environment is optimized not to make me procrastinate. And so how I've done that recently is I've installed this attachment onto Google Chrome that helps me just to block whatever websites I want to, right? And I think it's called Block Site, if I'm not mistaken. So on this little Google Chrome extension, I can just add all the different websites that normally would pull me away from my work, including Twitter, including YouTube, Facebook, anything like that that you normally find yourself going on. Go ahead and block those websites, get them off of your computer. I'm fortunate that I have 2 computers, and so the computer that I use for work, I like to make that completely for work. So what I do is I block all those websites, I uninstall any applications that don't contribute to me doing my work, and this computer becomes strictly a vessel for me to do my work. The next tip that I have for you on procrastination is to give yourself less time to do your work. Now that might sound a little bit weird to a lot of you out there. Give yourself less time to do your work. Let me explain myself. Recently I asked myself, when is it that I'm actually tempted to procrastinate? And I realized that the day before the test, I'm rarely procrastinating. And why is that? The answer that I came up with, it's because at that moment, this work that I need to do becomes urgent. I have a sense of urgency and purpose when I'm doing it. I cannot procrastinate because I know if I do, then I'll do bad on the test. And so because it's an urgent task, my desire to procrastinate evaporates and I do what I need to do. And so here's what I'll say to you. Make your work urgent, whether that means giving yourself less time to do the work or giving yourself more frequent deadlines. The work that you're doing should be urgent. So for me as a med student, previously, before I started working on my procrastination, I was giving myself maybe 8 to 10 hours a day to study for my courses. And what would happen is that during these 8 to 10 hours, I would probably spend like 4, maybe 5 hours doing deep focused work, and then the rest of the time just kind of goofing off and procrastinating, right? And so what I decided to do was gradually to whittle away the amount of time that I'm giving myself to study. If you ever heard of Parkinson's law, that is exactly what I'm talking about. Parkinson's law states that however much time you give yourself to do a task, you're going to fill up regardless how long the task would really take you. So if you give yourself 2 hours to do a task, you'll get it done in 2 hours. If you give yourself an hour and a half to do a task, then you'll get it done in that time. And if you give yourself 30 seconds to do the same task, well, that's a little bit excessive. We won't go there. But the point is that if you find that you're procrastinating a lot, then what I'll say to you is that the amount of time that you're giving yourself to do the task is probably too much time. So how do we make our work more urgent? Well, if you're giving yourself 8 hours to complete your work now, maybe try giving yourself 7 hours to complete your work. And if you still find yourself procrastinating but still getting your work done, then maybe give yourself 6 hours and gradually whittle down the amount of time that you're giving yourself to complete your work until you find a good window where you're getting your work done, but you don't have a bunch of extra time to kind of goof off in that window. And so once you do this, you'll have these extra hours in the day. And what do you do with those hours? Well, the choice is yours. The point is that instead of spending these hours feeling guilty and kind of just goofing off and doing mindless nonsense when you had planned to be working, you can be intentional with your time and you can use this time to do things that are either productive or just are things that you would actually enjoy doing. That's really all I have for today's video. My 2 points on how to work on procrastinating less is 1, to change your environment so that it becomes difficult to procrastinate, and 2 is to make your work more urgent. limit the amount of time that you give yourself to do your work to the amount of time that you actually need. If you try both of these things, I really think that you're gonna over time be able to reduce the amount of time that you spend procrastinating on your work. Now, of course, just like any other skill, limiting procrastination is something that takes work over time. It's a gradual process of becoming better at not procrastinating. And so in the beginning, you might find that you're still procrastinating a little bit. But what I would urge you is to take a proactive approach to intentionally working on getting better at procrastinating. And I really think that if we can get better at procrastinating, get these hours back in our lives, these hours and hours that we spend procrastinating, well, at least I personally do, it's going to contribute to us having way more free time. It's going to make us happier people, because procrastination really is the thing that puts me in a terrible mood. I don't know about you guys, but when I'm procrastinating, I just feel terrible about myself. So if we're not procrastinating, it's going to save us time. It's going to make us feel better about ourselves. And I really think in the long run, it's gonna add up so much and make us have much more productive and fulfilling lives. And so I hope that you got something of value out of this video. If nothing else, and a reminder that we need to be working on procrastinating less. If you're new to my channel, once again, my name is Matthew Branch. I appreciate you watching this video today. Please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to my channel, and also please leave a comment down below if you have a different strategy on how to overcome procrastination. I would really personally love to hear it. If there's something that's worked for you in the past on overcoming procrastination, please go ahead and share that tip below. Next to my head, I'll have a video on how to be a more efficient student. So anyways, thanks again for watching today, and I hope to see you in a future video. Have a great day.